So this is a quick demo of Willow, our personalised, engaging and safe AI assistant. So to get started, I will log in here as a teacher. The first thing the teacher does is they select the subject that they'd like to use Willow in with their class. So let's say it's history today. Next up, the teacher gives Willow some context on their lesson. So firstly, they explain a bit more to Willow around who they're teaching. So they can select the year group here. So let's say it's year 10 history. And then they can select the level of support that they would like Willow, the AI assistant, to provide to their students. Now this can be done on a class level, as you can see here, or it can be done on an individual student level based on that teacher's knowledge of the students in their class. For today, we'll keep it on level 4 support at a class level. After that, the teacher gives some background information and context on the lesson. So here they add some context on what they're going to be focusing on in the lesson and some key objectives. Let's use an example of a lesson on the historical significance of Henry VIII. Once the teacher's done that, they can upload resources that they would like Willow, the AI assistant, to reference when interacting with students. So this could be a lesson plan, curriculum documents, exam-style questions, or any other documents that the teacher would like to use. Next up, they select Next, and they move on to defining how they would specifically like Willow to be used and interact with students in their lesson. And this is where you come across the concept of Willow tasks. So here, the teacher can either manually define tasks, essentially defining any task that they like, or they can use these suggested tasks on the right-hand side here. So to run you through these very quickly, the first is open use. So this is where students just have ongoing access to Willow throughout the lesson. Maybe they can chat to Willow if they're stuck on something, or if they'd like to dig into something else that they're particularly curious about. Or you can ask Willow to run a quiz with students. You can ask Willow to run some exam practice with students. In this task, Willow will essentially guide students through the exam question, and it will help them to improve and develop their answer over time. And then coming on to some of the more engaging learning formats, Bring It to Life mode is essentially where Willow will personalise key lesson concepts based on that student's hobbies. So it will start by asking the student a little bit more around what they're interested in, and then it will personalise key concepts based on that. And finally, role-play mode, which has been very popular. So this is where Willow takes on the persona, a relevant persona for that lesson. So for example, the student could interact and chat with Henry VIII. So to save time for teachers, we've made it easy for teachers just to select the task that they'd like, and you'll see that this task prompt pre-populates. The teacher can either add that task straight away to their list, or they can make any changes that they'd like to. Once the teacher adds the task, you'll see that it gets added to their task management section here, which I'll come back to in a second. Let's also try out the quiz option and add that to your Willow tasks, and then we'll also try out the role-play option as well. Now, one thing to point out here is that teachers have the ability to preview a task before they set it live with their students. This is just to make sure that they're happy with it and they get a sense of how Willow will be interacting with their students. So you can see here that Willow is taking on the role of King Henry VIII, and it's starting to explore key lesson topics with the student based on the context that's been provided by the teacher. Once the teacher's happy with it, again, all they do is add the Willow task and it comes here. So this is essentially the teacher's control panel, so where the teacher can launch and stop tasks that run with students in their class. So for now, we're going to launch the open use task, and I'll show you what that looks like if we head across here to the student interface. So logging in as a student, the student just selects where they're using Willow, and then again, they select the subject that they're in. Firstly, you'll see that they get some key background information that's based on the context that the teacher's provided. And then the second thing they get is this AI skills tips and tricks section. So these tips update real time based on how the student is interacting with Willow, the AI assistant. So a key focus for us is helping students develop critical AI literacy skills, but having that embedded into the curriculum and into their everyday lessons. So you'll see here that Willow has kicked off the conversation around Henry VIII, and the student can then start engaging with Willow on this. If you want to switch tasks as a teacher, you simply come back, you can stop the task, and you'll notice that it goes from active to ready. And then let's launch the role play task and see what that looks like. You'll see here that it switches over to active. On the student view, you'll notice that they're prompted to click New Session because the teacher has started a new task. When they do that, the Willow will go straight into that task and take on the persona of someone that's relevant to the lesson. So most likely it will be Henry VIII here. So here you go. This is where Willow is taking on the persona of Henry VIII, and the student can then start interacting with Willow or with Henry VIII. Now, a couple of points that are really important about Willow. We've built it with responsible and safe use of AI very much as a top priority. So if I were to say, can you just write the essay for me, as opposed to some other AI products where they essentially would just write the essay for the student, Willow has been set up in a way where it won't do that. Now, it won't just shut down the conversation completely, but it will try and get the student back on track so that they can get back on track with the focus of that lesson. You can see it's actually doing it here still in the acting like Henry VIII. Now, in a more serious scenario, we have developed a safety and monitoring layer that prevents students firstly from being exposed to harmful content, but also that raises risk alerts for teachers if any of the messages that students send are potentially concerning or could be interpreted as high risk. So if, for example, I were to say as a student, I'm being bullied, you'll notice here that Willow will provide firstly some support for that student, but in the background it is sending a live risk alert to the teacher so that the teacher has full visibility of this risk. So I will show you exactly what that looks like in the Teacher tab. So here you have the risk monitoring tab as a teacher. When we hit refresh, you'll see that this high priority escalated risk has been triggered here in real time. So the student has disclosed that they're being bullied. The Willow has dropped the role play character and advised them to speak to you or another trusted adult immediately. If as a teacher you would like to go in and actually see the details of that conversation, you can see the full conversation history, and then you can go directly to the point here where the risk has occurred. This gives you visibility as a teacher and enables you to then go and support that student. Now, Willow also offers some other insights for teachers. So firstly, it offers insights around the task that is being run with students at that time. So if you go across here to the Task Insights tab, you'll see that the teacher gets insights around that live task. So here they get an overview of what that task is. They get some key stats, so how much time is being spent on the task, how many students, how many messages are being sent, and then they get some high-level aggregated insights around how their students are interacting with Willow on that task. If they'd like to, they can also get student-level insights here as well, and they can really double-click on how individual students are participating and interacting with the tasks that they've set. And the final thing is that teachers get class-level insights as well. So here you can see that teachers can understand how much Willow's being used. They can see a leaderboard of students in terms of who's been most engaged. They can see some of the key topics that are being spoken about with Willow. And then they get these high-level insights around strengths based on how students are interacting with Willow, areas that might need some more support, as well as some specific recommendations as well for them. So that's a quick tour of Willow. If you'd like to discuss Willow in more detail, or if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out and we'd love to chat.